Let's talk about something interesting today. Let's start by discussing the dynamic that constitutes human life's initiation into the art of living. Knowing is always a phase of life in action in an environment on a certain occasion. Our thought, therefore, emerges as a result of our interactions with our environment. As soon as we realize that we are something other than what we see around us, we feel the need to adapt to our environment. Our senses and our thought help us reconstruct the picture of the environment to which we must adapt in order to survive. So what enables us to refine this picture of our environment is the faculty of rational thought. Rational thought starts with a resolute attempt to think clearly about our environment so that we can devise the most appropriate action. This dynamic, ladies and gentlemen, is the art of living. At one time, when man's powers of rational thought were not so developed, we looked up to the mystics and the seers for the picture of our total environment. In the various institutions of religion, devotional literature attempts to describe the total environment of which human is a tiny part. There have also been other spiritualists who urged us to know our place in the overall scheme of things in order to be able to act properly, to fulfill the potential of our relationship with the total environment. It appears as if religion was made responsible for bringing about a general progress of man up to a level where we can take up the matter of our growth into our own hands. And now, the age of revelation has given way to the age of realization. Human no longer has to wait for a new way to be shown. It's now up to us to walk in the light of our reason. We are now free to do our walking by ourselves and study, investigate, and reflect as our own guide. Intellectual progress is not an end in itself. It has to serve the purpose of life. Modern psychology, old religions, genetics, everything endorses that. We are not the slaves of our thinking. Instead, thought is the slave of life. Thought has been created by life with a view to gain power over its environment with the help of our senses. The evolution of our thought life is a process of fine-tuning our power of perception. Conceptual thought is an act of judgment followed by believing. Belief is ultimately a plan of action, its veritable test. Every idea is in addition to the reach of our personality. So as Immanuel Kant explained, it's in the marriage of percept and concept that the understandable world arises for our powers of cognition to study and derive pleasure from. Appealing to pure reason, Kant attempted to set the boundaries of human knowledge. He showed the limits within which the powers of reason were on hand for gaining knowledge. While there have been a number of objections to his views, the main thesis of Kantian epistemology has not yet been successfully challenged. When the level of one's own life changes, its capacity to know also increases. Look, human thought has two important aspects. First, it functions as an intellectual reporter of an external object. Right? Second, it delivers expressions that are independent of and are not furnished by our sense. What we perceive refers to the psychophysiological mechanism by means of which we perceive it. Any change in that mechanism, for instance, by cultivating the powers of concentration or by using drugs, will transform the object itself. The power of reason transcends the frontiers of the psychophysical environment. Whether or not the intellect furnishes accurate information doesn't so much depend on our own intelligence as on our ability to exclude other motives that interfere with our intellectual faculties. Right? So the cognitive bent in human looks for pleasing and sugar-coated beliefs. Our rational faculties must be on guard against embracing attractive, gratifying, and endearing false, often quoted as sacred words. Personally, I don't agree with the thought advanced by William James and many others that human intellect is insufficient for understanding the truth of religious experience. This school of thought argues that the conceptual process can classify, define, and interpret facts, but that it doesn't produce them. There's always an element that feeling alone can account for. This distrust of intellect is based on the premise that intellect doesn't shape the essence of religious and mystical experience into a conceptual structure. But this thought fails to distinguish between the symbol and its object. True that the experience of life's quality of time as lived, of emotions as felt, can't be adequately represented by conceptual processes, no matter how advanced. However, discoveries in psychology and biology have shown that the intellect is able to develop pointers to the reason and meaning of human experience. We are ever more able to define what causes feelings and what they suggest. Criticism of intellect is thus out of kilter. With time, intellect is able to decipher the elements of experience which earlier couldn't be represented as concepts. The real difference resides in our rational or irrational. The nature of intellect's activity doesn't depend on the success or failure of its endeavor. It proceeds by trial and error. Some beliefs are easy to verify, but beliefs that lie beyond the realm of experience are not. Cognition, true or false, can transcend experience. It can. While there may be differences in the states of our cognition, the truth remains unaltered. Truth. That's it. We often fancy that we are at liberty to shape our truth because we won't be proven wrong through verification. That's not right. All false beliefs are taken to task one day. A British surgeon and author, Robert Bruford, explains that the consequences of the big lies are exactly of the same kind as the consequences of little lies. They are found out. Subjecting belief to the modern intellect can transform its definitions from local to universal and remove dogma and historic inaccuracy unveiled by science. Religious constructions must be confronted with the results of science, and those doctrines proven scientifically absurd must be discarded. The remaining conceptions can be dealt with and tested as hypotheses. Intellect can thus refine innocent, extravagant beliefs and unrealistic symbolism. This can lead to more consensual belief systems. Modern human must think, reflect, criticize, and appraise thought on a logical scale before the formation of a belief. Non-rational forces of primitive belief must be defeated by the forces of a well-articulated intellectual life. The rational mind has faith in contemplative, investigative, and discursive knowledge. Unlike the spiritualist, it goes beyond achieving communion with reality and endeavoring to discover its relationship with appearances. Mystics, on the contrary, seek the fulfillment of their emotional life more than the cerebral. They use the language of inventive imagery suited only for an unanalyzed and directly experienced awareness. Therefore, mysticism has never succeeded in furthering human knowledge, as its experience and awareness can be directly lived but can't be transferred. Mystical literature isn't an account of accurate information that can be passed on. Some ancient mystics, Sufis, or other mysterious personalities may have realized a higher state of being, but there was no transferable medium to communicate the intensity of feeling and depth of experience associated with their realization, and therefore their intuitions and realizations perished with them without being of any use to the pool of human knowledge. Intellectual knowledge, in contrast, can be transferred to anyone who wants to learn, can be recorded and passed on and improved from generation to generation. A scientist knows that any knowledge can be analyzed into simpler components and then rated into a superior type of intimacy. The primary function of knowledge is to anticipate probable experience in order to gain a direct experience of reality. Biological evolution dictates that human is in transition, making our way to ever more evolved life by satisfying the possibilities of our being. Hence, intellect in human can't be rational unless it's made coextensive with life, as the power of rational thought itself has developed in reply to life's demand for action. The decisive spiritual power in this age to me is not religion but science, is life expressed as understanding. Science demands the direct experience of the profoundest depth of life in which all existence inwardly depends. Science constantly endeavors to reach that depth. Science makes the auxiliary constructions of the intellect, such as mysticism, unnecessary by transforming the human who seeks truth through exploring and investigating. Science helps intellect break free from its parasitic moorings and become the life's ruling center. To sum it up, truth can be concocted in the crucible of devotional belief. It has to be discovered and verified using all sensual and intellectual faculties at human disposal. In science, what is achieved by one or a few becomes the common property of the whole race of mankind to share in the days that lie ahead. And that is precisely why the progress of science is increasingly recreating and reconstructing life on the plane of understanding. Please share your views on the morphology of intellect and scientific thought in the comments below and let others profit from you. Thank you very much.